Welcome, everyone. Fancy meeting all of you here on Zoom. It's part of our new normal today. However, the silver lining is this. We're all together. We're all together from all over the world. From San Francisco, I'm here, to Los Angeles, Chicago, New York, Washington, D.C., and across the ocean to Hawaii, and all the way across the Pacific to Tokyo, Japan. Welcome, everybody. We're all here to meet a brand new star in the sports world, Collin Morikawa. Thanks for joining us, Collin.
Thanks for having me, Jan. Everyone listening, everyone here today, thank you so much. I hope we have a great little session today. And please feel free to ask any questions. I really appreciate everything.
Oh, thanks, Collin. Well, I'm sure a lot of questions coming your way. And now we do want to thank all our sponsors. We know, I hope you do, that we appreciate all our sponsors. Your sponsorship means that we can continue our mission and all our programs. So thank you to all our sponsors, all our supporters. And now with a very special welcome to everybody, please welcome a good friend of the USJC. I've seen her in many conventions and everything. We know her so well. Rona Thiessen, Executive Vice President of Corporate Relations at Ituan. Rona, take it away.
Thank you, Jan. Well, Collin, on behalf of Ituan North America, it is such a great honor to be able to congratulate you on your recent win of the PGA Championship 2020 and your very accomplished career at a mere 23 years old. That is such an achievement. As global leaders of green tea and a company that was first established in Japan in 1966, we've not only been committed to cultivating authentic green tea culture here in the United States, but have also been committed to supporting young people through the US-Japan Council's Emerging Leaders Program, which identifies, cultivates, and empowers a new generation of Japanese American leaders. In fact, we also nurture young tea farmers in Japan to ensure their environmental sustainability. You are a true inspiration for these young people that through dedication, focus, and hard work, amazing accomplishments can be achieved. We look forward to your continued success and hope you will not only play on the greens, but maybe drinking our green teas. Cheers, Collin.
Thank you, Rona.
Congratulations.
Thank you so much. I love that ending. So thank you.
You're welcome.
Here's our agenda for today. I've got a short video that I prepared on Collin. Then we're going to dive right into my interview with Collin. And if you have a question, and as you heard Collin said, bring on those questions, please use our Q&A feature found at the bottom of your screen. And I'll get to as many of your questions as I possibly can. Now, we do have Japanese interpretation right now. If you'd like to use it, just click on the globe icon at the bottom of your screen. It says interpretation, so really easy. We will adjourn promptly at 15 minutes before the hour. So we have 45 minutes with Collin. Let's get started. Just to get everybody up to date on Collin's big win, here's a short video on how Collin made it look all so easy. As we say in my biz, rotate.
It was the first major golf tournament to be played since COVID-19 shut down the sports world. But on one fine Sunday in August of this year, at the Harding Park Golf Course in San Francisco, Collin Morikawa delivered magic. As he hoisted the Wanamaker Trophy with that winning smile, Collin made a bit of history for himself. At 23, he is one of the youngest to win a PGA Championship. And he turned pro just last year. And the win moved him to number 5 in the world. To be clear, the win included what many are saying, the shot of dreams. On the par 4, 16th hole, he drove the green, putting the ball 7 feet from the pin. It was an easy putt for Collin. At least he made it look easy.
And those are moments I'm always going to remember.
hit it. JJ actually walked in the tee, and he never really does that. He was talking to the ball a bunch. I don't really talk to it too much, but we were both kind of screaming at it to get a good bounce. And we obviously got a very good bounce, and you just have to capitalize on those shots.
To look back at his young career is to have witnessed many dream shots. Collin is from the city of La Cañada in Southern California. He got his degree in business at the University of California at Berkeley, where he was one of the stars on the men's golf team.
To be a great golfer and to go through school, it's definitely doable. It's right there if you're willing to step up.
Golf is clearly number one in Collin's life right now, but coming in at number two, it's food. This golfer admits to being a real foodie. He and girlfriend Catherine Zhu, a former college golfer herself, are always on the hunt for great food wherever they are. Good food will only be used as great fuel for Collin, who has only one goal in mind.
I'll be able to use what I've learned here in the business school at Cal with my teammates and my coaches and keep pushing myself to become the best golfer in the world.
No doubt, Collin Morikawa will become number one.
Yay! Yes, yes, yes. So, Collin, as I mentioned in the video, you are one of the youngest to win a PGA Championship. And I dare say, I did a lot of research. I believe you're the first Japanese American to win a PGA Championship. You're making history. Now, I know you're Hapa, half Japanese, and your mother is Chinese American. So I guess everybody can claim you, the Japanese, the Chinese, everybody can claim you. How does it feel to be making some history, Collin?
Jan, thank you so much. That video gave me a little chills watching that, rewatching that stuff. Definitely made me hungry. But thank you. No, to be able to accomplish something like that at such a young age, it's been everything I've ever wanted. It's a dream that I've always had to come out, play on the PGA Tour as a little kid. But so far that, I've been able to look back at it, a year and a half, it's just been so much fun. And I think I really enjoyed every moment, every, aspect of golf, not just playing in the tournaments, but actually traveling to these places, meeting a bunch of people, meeting everyone on this call. That's all been really fun for me. And I think that's why I've enjoyed it so much. And it's been maybe an easier transition than some have had. Obviously this isn't, a walk in the park to come out to the PGA Tour, but it's everything I've loved and dreamt of. And I couldn't really ask for much more.
Oh, thank you for saying that. I did say in the video that the win made you go to number 5 in the world, but I was Googling last night and now I see you're number 4 in the world. So, okay, we're getting closer to that number 1 spot. Any predictions as to when that may happen?
No, I wish I could tell you exactly when. I obviously have the Masters coming up in a few weeks, and hopefully we get another win there. And, I got to work on some few things over these next 2. But, yeah, golf is always, it's an up and down thing. You got to figure out what's going well, what's not. And I think that's why we love the game, is because it always treats us nicely and treats us poorly at the same time. It's one of the hardest sports out there for sure. And it just makes our life a lot more fun when you're able to play really good golf. And that's what we're all striving for.
Well, you did a great job. They say that golf is a mental sport. So what is your mindset going into the tournament? How do you prepare?
It's huge. And golf is probably more than 50%, mental. A lot of it comes down to, how you think through the shots, how you're on the course, how you can handle yourself. And if you look at, us on the PGA Tour versus someone that might be in college, in junior golf, whatever it may be, a lot of the time, the talent's there. And a lot of kids, a lot of players can have that talent to play. It's just in the mind. And then I think the biggest aspect on how to prepare is just believing in yourself. I told a lot of people when I turned pro last summer was that I believe that I can do this. I didn't really care what anyone thought, what anyone, even if they believed in me more than I did. I didn't really care, because all I really would have to focus on is what I thought I could do. And I thought I could compete with these players. I thought I could be, hopefully number 1 in the world. And, we're still working towards that goal. And obviously it's a big step, but we're heading in the right direction.
And you are certainly doing that. So I have been reading a lot I've been trolling you, Collin, but you did mention that how different it is to play on the greens at the golf course without an audience, without spectators. And you had hoped, you said it would have been easier at the 16th in Harding if you had heard the cheer of the spectators when you hit that shot 7 feet from, you know, the tee. So what is it like to play without an audience? How do you feel about that?
You know, it was, I'll be honest, it was actually a little fun. About the first month we were back, you know, it was really quiet. It was very peaceful. We didn't have to worry too much. And now that we've played, you know, 4 months, 5 months into it, it's become a little dull. And I'd say one of the best memories I've ever had that I think that'll always stick with me was last year in Japan at the Zozo Championship. Obviously, we just had Zozo this past week, but it was not in Japan. But in Japan last year, the fans, the people that love golf out there, they were lining the fairways on the first tee. And those are the most memorable moments I'm ever going to have. And, you know, just because, you know, whether you hit a good shot or a bad shot, the people are cheering you on out there. And we miss that. You know, they bring so much energy and so much life to the golf tournaments that it's just become a little plain. So we do truly miss them. I hope they come back, hopefully safely, soonly, and we'll see you guys out there.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you know, the reason we're all on Zoom and the reason no spectators is because of this COVID-19. How safe do you think that you golfers are? You know, we heard about the NBA bubble and what we're doing. How safe do you feel as a golfer out there?
Yeah, we're tremendously safe. And I think, you know, that's a lot of credit to the PGA Tour, everyone else that's helped us out. I think we've only had roughly 15 cases on the PGA Tour, which is amazing considering we travel every week. Guys are staying at hotels, guys are staying at different houses. So it's been a lot on us on making sure we stay safe, we keep the people around us safe. But when we're on the golf course, you know, it's as safe as I ever felt, which is, you know, we're very grateful for that opportunity to come back, do what we love, you know, play, and hopefully people are enjoying golf as much as we are on TV.
Oh, we're certainly enjoying watching you. All right, here's the big thing. I've been reading everything. Everybody's comparing you to be the next Tiger Woods. And I know you got to play with him at the 2020 Farmers Insurance Open. You were paired with Tiger Woods. And you've said that, you know, you looked up to Tiger. Okay, so tell us how it went when you were paired with him. What did he say to you? What did you say to him? Give us the inside scoop.
Yeah, you know, well, I'll start off with a comparison. I don't think anyone should ever be compared to Tiger. He's on another level. But anytime you're in the conversation of that same level, you know, it's an honor. It means you're doing something right. And for me to have that at such an early stage, you know, I just want to keep that up. And I want to keep playing good golf, keep getting better. Playing with him the first time in San Diego was amazing. And it's everything every little kid could have dreamt of, you know, playing with someone I've looked up my entire life. And fortunately for me, I got to meet him a few times before that. So it wasn't the first time I'd actually, you know, got to meet him, but it was the first time I played with him. So me going to Cal, UC Berkeley, him going to Stanford, rival schools up in, you know, the Bay Area, San Francisco. I carry a yardage book cover in my back left pocket. It says "Go Bears." And right after I hit my first tee shot, he laughs, you know, it says "Go Bears," and gets this little snarl at me, you know, making fun of me going to Cal. So that's something I'm going to remember forever. Walking off the first tee, him saying that, you know, what a cool experience to kind of make that day a little easier, and, you know, hopefully our friendship just grow from there.
So we've got to ask you, does he give you tips? Because, you know, he's the older, more veteran golfer. Does he give you tips at all?
You know, what I've noticed is that a lot of guys out here, a lot of veterans, whether it's Tiger Woods or, you know, whoever you guys might know that are big time players out here for a while, they'll always offer tips. But I think what I like to do is just watch them, you know, watch how they go through things, watch their kind of routines on how they practice, how they might play a course. And that's how you really pick up things, because it's how do you know, interpret something in your own words. And I think that's how people learn the best. That's how I learn the best, is when I'm able to teach myself, really. You know, someone can explain something to me, but it's how can I interpret it? And, you know, it might be the same exact thing, but it might be interpreted in a slightly different way. So that's what I've kind of come to realize is, you know, yes, they've been open to answering questions for me, but the best way for me to learn is just to really observe and watch them kind of do their thing and kind of, you know, influence me in a certain way, but still be myself while I'm doing it.
Okay. Speaking of, you know, watching you and being with you, we've been reading a lot. And in fact, I know that I think Phyllis Campbell said something to me earlier. She said, after Collin won his PGA Championship, you were greeted by Catherine, your girlfriend, and who is also, as you saw in the video, also a champion golfer from Pepperdine. She said that you credit her with helping you, Collin, focus and win and compete at the highest level. She said, can you please elaborate? This is from Phyllis Campbell, a former board president, board chair of USJC, by the way.
Yeah, you know, what I've come to realize, and we think golf is an independent sport, right? But it's not just me running everything. I've got a whole team, and a team that I've built since I've turned pro, and even before I've turned pro. And I think that's all part of it. You have to build a team around you, and that's what makes a success. And yes, I get a lot of credit, but the people behind me that don't get the credit, they deserve a lot more than what, you know, I give them. Because, you know, having her come along and travel with me last summer, it's a lot lonelier if she wasn't with me. You know, me turning pro, going to all these states, tournaments I've never been to, knowing mirrored to, you know, no one out there on the PGA Tour. It made things easier. I could have someone to go to dinner with last summer. I could have someone to talk to after my rounds, whether I played good, played bad, get my mind off of it. You know, I've slowly built my team. I've had my swing/mental coach for 15 years. I've had the same caddy since I've turned pro. Have my agents, have my sponsorships. You know, it's all building this team around me to help me succeed and really focus on what I do best is golf. And they take all the other worries away, and that's the best thing I could ask for. And I'm very thankful for her to be by my side, you know, on the course, wherever it may be. And I'm very thankful.
And I take it she's a real foodie too, because I saw her in a lot of your food shots.
She loves. She loves it just as me. I might eat a lot more, but she loves food.
And the good news about being with Catherine is that you can talk shop. You can talk golf.
Yeah. Yeah. She knows golf. She obviously played in college. She turned pro for a year, tried it out, and she understands, you know, she understands when I play well, when I don't play well. And she's not, you know, she didn't know I'd have to probably explain a lot more, but she understands if I don't play well, you know, yes, there's another day and I might be a little mad, but she's able to get my mind away from it. And I think that's just what makes golf a lot more fun for me is that, you know, on the golf course, it's pure business and that's all golf. But when I'm away, I can step away and really separate myself from my job, which is, you know, being on the golf course.
Well, I would want to interview her next. Another time. Okay. Here's a question from Dennis Seguino. Watched the Harding Championship, and he said that the difference between a good golfer and an elite excellent golfer is the command of the mental ability. He says, what prep work do you do? How do you channel your mental abilities? You know, what routine do you have, or do you have a routine before you go into a big tournament?
Yeah, Dana, that's a great question. And I'll be honest, at the PGA Championship, I've never been as focused. And I think that's why I wish there were fans. And yes, you know, it was my second major championship I've ever played in. We hadn't seen fans in a while, but I think no matter who was there, whatever noises, whatever was going to be there, I was so focused that you couldn't get my focus away. I was so in the moment. And I think that's, you know, you talk about the best, like Tiger Woods, he was always in that state. And, you know, some guys may never get to that state, but I was in that state and I know what it's like. And I want to be back in that state so much more. How do you practice that? I wish I know. I'm still trying to find the secret because, you know, to be in that really tunnel vision, but still very wide open sense of view, it's hard to focus. And it's hard to practice that. But what I like to do, you know, pre-tournament, kind of when I have my off weeks, is really just pretend like, you know, I'm on a tournament. I got to hit a shot, and I'll do that on the range. So I'll play an actual shot, and that, you know, that gets you in more of a tournament kind of aspect and a tournament mindset. Because sometimes when you're going out in practice, you're just hitting 30 balls, and you might not figure something out. You might not learn anything. But that's when you're really wasting your time. And for us, time's pretty valuable. We don't have, eternity of it. So you have to get things done really efficiently, and you have to really just focus when you're there on the range or on the putting green or on the course. You just got to learn something every single day.
All right. So sidebar to that question about how do you prepare, football players and some professional baseball players are known to be very superstitious. They got to do a certain routine. I mean, Steph Curry is famous. He had to hit the shot from the tunnel, and some football players have told me how they never changed their socks, or some crazy things. Hunter Pence here, the Giants, was famous for walking in a certain way to the ballpark, and before you get. So, do you have any superstitions? Do you have to do anything special? What can you let us in on?
Great question, Jan. I mean, so I love to call them routines. I would never say they're superstitions. It's just a routine. It's something I do all the time. So it's nothing pre-tournament. It's nothing pre-round even. It's just when I am on the first tee, I always have 5 tees in my pocket. 5's been my favorite number forever. Can't tell you why. It's just what I've always loved. So I always start with 5 tees in my right pocket. I always have my ball marker, a pencil, and a divot tool in my left. So yeah, those are routines, not superstitions.
And what have you discovered? Oh my gosh, I only have 4 tees in my pocket.
I'm going to go grab one more. I promise you, I will not be starting with 4 tees or 6 tees. There's always going to be 5 at the start of the round.
Got it. And did you gather this kind of routine, if you will, in college at Cal?
No, I think it's just I've always started. I can't put a timeline on it. But I even in high school when I was playing junior golf, I always started with 5 tees. I don't know when that started, but it's been a long, long time.
Well, keep those 5 tees.
Yeah.
Left, because so far, it's you're doing a good job with that.
Yeah.
Here's a question from Yuko Kaifu. She's in Los Angeles. She has a daughter, she says, an avid golfer in high school, but she wants to help her daughter, obviously, to elevate the game and hopefully rise up to a professional level. She said, what can she tell her daughter about your secrets? How do you keep your mind mentally tough? How do you remain unaffected when you're on the course? What can she tell her daughter to do?
Yeah, I think the simplest answer would be just to have fun. And, you could hear that from a lot of other people, whether, it's golf or what other job and other profession they might be. But the people that, you can see excel in their, business or whatever it may be, is because they love it. They have a real passion for it. And whether it's, we don't play golf for the money. It's just a part of it. And we're very lucky for it, but we play it because we love it. I love what I do. So at the core root of things, make sure she loves it. There's no forcing. And that's what I see with a lot of parents, a lot of young juniors that, I've grown up with, and I've seen it from all ranges of golf, junior golf to amateur golf, even professional golf. You still see it where the parents are the ones that love it just a little bit more than their kids. So make sure your daughter just really loves it. And from there, to focus on the mental aspect, I think, from that point, you have to really just look at your stats, look at where you might be losing shots, because you lose 1 shot a round. That's 4 shots a tournament. That's, 100 shots, over 100 shots a year. And that's crazy to think about, but sometimes 1 shot can cost you everything. That shot can cost you a spot on the team, a traveling team for college, a spot on the high school team. That shot can cost you, your PGA Tour card or whatever it may be. You never know what that is. So you always have to pay attention to the details. And that's what I've always loved. I've always taken in all the information, any help that's been thrown my way. I'm able to filter, yes, there's going to be things that people tell you that you probably never need to know, but, forget about those. Don't worry about that. But I think for your daughter, just make sure she's having fun. And if she's not, find a way to make it fun. Golf is changing so much where, there's a lot younger people, obviously through all this coronavirus, people have kind of slowly picked up the game of golf. And whether they've picked it up before or not, just make sure she's having a really good time out there.
Good advice. Good advice. Speaking of school, here's a question from Rio Suzuki, and he's a fan, and he said, you know, you may have had a chance to turn pro during college that you elected to finish at Cal Berkeley. What was your thought process to finish college, then turn pro?
Yeah, Rio, great question. You know, I've always viewed academics as very important to me, and obviously my parents thought so too. But it was always important coming into college. I knew the plan was 4 years. I never thought that, you know, I would go 2 years and turn pro. And granted, before college, I didn't think I was going to be ready in 2 years. After my sophomore year, roughly junior year even, I thought my game was ready. But, you know, there was something still missing. And I had applied for the business school at Cal, and the Haas Business School is an amazing program, you know, one of the best in the entire world. And what an opportunity for me to get, you know, included in that, get it, you know, get into that program my junior year, so my third year. And why would I waste an opportunity like that? You know, I have one more year to still learn so much. And to be honest, I miss college golf so much because you hang out with your team so much. You have so many friends. It's nothing like professional golf. And that's why, you know, people love it. It's college. And you have a team, you have a family around you. And all you have to do is go to school and play golf. So, you know, I felt like the need for my personal sake to finish that business school. You know, I wasn't going to go through 1 year of business school, not get my degree, not give that all up. I worked so hard my first 2 years to get in that it was worth it. And I really used my senior year to just get ready for the professional ranks. You know, at that point, my golf game felt ready, mental game felt ready, everything felt ready. I just needed to kind of figure out what I was going to do when I came out here. And that's what I used that last senior year for.
Mm-hmm. And, you know, great role model you are for completing college, being a college athlete and completing it. I mean, great role model. Here's kind of a little side bar to that question from Kentaro Matsuura. He's saying, you chose to go to Berkeley over Stanford when you know, everybody knows Tiger went to Stanford,
Mm-hmm.
you know, but go Bears. Did you think about going to another college is what he's asking.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, as a little kid, you have all these colleges that you know, hopefully want to get into. And, you know, for me, it was more than simply one thing. You know, for the college, I wasn't simply looking for academics, or I wasn't simply looking for the best golf team, but I was looking for the overall experience. And you have to look at what the coaches are like, what the teammates are going to be like, campus, everything that's kind of involved. And, you know, it was a long process. It was a very draining process, but it was a lot of fun. You know, I enjoyed it. I enjoyed getting to meet all these people because it wasn't the last time I was going to see them. A lot of coaches still reach out to me. You know, I'm on a very friendly basis with a lot of them. So, you know, I'm very thankful for me ending up at Cal. The team was amazing. You know, we didn't play our best coming down the stretch of nationals some years, but that's okay. And, you know, I made brothers. I made a family for life. And a big reason why I chose that was in the 2012 to 2013 team. So right, you know, a couple of years before I went to college, they had one of the best college teams ever to not even win a national championship. They lost, I think, in the semifinals to Alabama. But they had won 12 out of 13 tournaments, and no other team has done that. So it showed me that they're capable of doing that. The coaches, you know, the facilities, the academics, everything that they were given, they were capable of making something out of it. And that's what I wanted to do. I knew a few teammates already that made the transition easier. And everything, you know, obviously, thankfully worked out.
Yes, it did. Here's another question from Rob Hale. And he says, congratulations, number one. But he said, how do you change your strategy when you know your game is, quote, not firing on all cylinders? How do you manage the shaky moments mentally?
Yeah, it's tough, Rob. I think we all have those moments. I think all of us that play golf, you know, some days you wake up and it just doesn't feel right. And that's what the best professionals out here do is that we're able to manage, you know, our bad days and make it an okay day. So maybe instead of shooting over par, you might shoot a couple under. But I think it's just really being honest with yourself. is that, yes, you might have a tough day, but really admit to yourself that, okay, maybe we need to aim a little more center of the greens, or we need to take a little more conservative of a line. And granted, over the past month, I probably haven't done that. I think my game still feels solid, but, results haven't shown that well. And maybe I just need to be a little more honest with myself and really just dial in on what I need to get better at. And if it's not working for that day, maybe just play a little away from the pins and being so aggressive. And that's, all about it is just understanding what kind of game you have and understanding the player you are. I think everyone out here on the PGA Tour plays a very different game. And I think everyone can agree with that. There is no golf game that is similar to one another. And that's what makes this, sport so great.
And you have this amazing, I've read this article, you have an amazing ability to shake it off. If your game is not going well, you have this, they say, according to this one writer, you have this amazing ability to shake it off and move forward. So what, you talk to yourself then on the course? What happens?
Yeah, you get a little angry, and I think everyone does. That's just part of not doing what you want and getting bad results. But there's also nothing you can change in the past. And I think that's what I've come to realize is that, yes, I've hit a bad shot, but you can't do anything about it. There's no time traveling to where you can hit that shot again. There's no mulligan in professional golf. So go to the next shot and make it the best you can and give it your full effort. If you're all sad and angry about the last shot, you're not going to give your full, strength to that next shot. And I think that's what a lot of amateur players do is that, they're not able to get over that little hurdle to go to that next shot and really realize, okay, this is a brand new shot. Every shot is a different shot.
Okay, good answer. Here's a question from Susan Yamada. She said, have you found any discrimination being an Asian American with sponsors, with fellow golfers, with fans, anywhere you've traveled? How would you answer that, Collin?
Yeah, Susan, that's a great question. And, the world we're in, we're living in a very crazy world. And things are very different. No matter where you are in the world, I think we all go through different, challenges. I've been very thankful in my life to, my parents raised me in a very great household. I was in a great community, great friends. The PGA Tour has been amazing. And, if I'm simply going to talk about the PGA Tour and out on tour, no matter where we've traveled, I've not faced any, adversity through that based on my race. The PGA Tour, yes, is somewhat focused or not focused, somewhat one-dimensional, I'd say, on if you look at races and if you look at the diversity of our profile, but that's just, the players. If you're good, you're good, and you make it to the PGA Tour, and there's nothing you can do about that, but we've been very lucky. And I think looking at professional sports, we have a say, and I have a very big say now, based on what I've done, is to, use my voice and influence other people and see, how much impact I can give. And yes, I'm 23 and I feel like a kid, but I get it. A lot of kids might be looking up to me, and I hope that is the case, because I do want to be a role model, like other role models that I looked up to, being, a young kid wanting to play golf or wanting to play sports, whatever it may be. But yeah, I think the PGA Tour has done an amazing job. All the places, all the cities that we've gone to have been, amazing. And I think it's just for us to keep growing and learning. Through all this stuff, I've been able to learn a lot. And I think that's the biggest thing. If we're not learning from what we've seen over the past, handful of months, I don't think we're doing our job. Does it mean you have to say something every time something comes up? Not necessarily, but if you're learning, that's the biggest thing. And I've learned so much talking to other players, other friends, whatever it's about. That's what I've been able to do, is just learn, and just get my knowledge a lot better to be able to talk on topics, about race, about all this stuff, especially when it comes to golf.
So along that line, Paul wants to know, what are your strongest connections with the Japanese culture, the Chinese culture, because I mentioned your Hapa. So what are your strong connections, for the Japanese culture, your mom's Chinese culture? What would you say that would be?
Yeah. So talking about my Japanese side, obviously I have my last name and you guys have claimed that.
Yes,
And I think more
have.
people know I'm Japanese than Chinese. And, that's fine. I am who I am. But yeah, so I took my first visit to Japan, I want to say was 3, maybe 4 years ago over winter break. My parents had never been there. My dad has never been there. And by far, it was my favorite trip ever. And granted, I don't think I have felt that connection. And yes, I am Japanese and I have a lot of heritage, Japanese heritage. But I had never felt a connection like that. I had lived in America my entire life. I've lived in the US. It's not like I had any relatives back there where I could talk to them, learn more about my heritage and all that. But when you go over there, and that was the first time I was there, there's an instant connection. And that was something I had never felt. It felt amazing. Who knows what what I'll feel if I go to China. But when I went to Japan, it was amazing. I felt that love. I felt like this is where, my heritage and my life had started. So it means a lot, obviously a lot of my side, on my dad's side, my Japanese side lives in Hawaii. My grandparents were born there. My uncle on my dad's brother was born there. My dad was born in California. But we have so many cousins that still live in Hawaii. And for me to be able to get to just know them, it's pretty special.
And in Collin's honor, I just wanted to tell him I have this background. I'm from Hawaii, knows, but I believe I'm on the island of Maui, where he feels that his great grandparents came over from Japan to Maui. And I think all our great grandparents worked in the sugarcane and pineapple fields. So that's what we have in common here in Hawaii. Here's a question from Sukemasu Kobayama. Sukemasu asks, have you used any technology to enhance your performance? We hear about all the technology now being used in elite bicyclists, bicycle racing, Tour de France. I mean, even for basketball. Have you used any technology?
Yeah, and I think everyone has on the PGA Tour. Every professional, not even on the PGA Tour, Japan Tour, Asian Tour, whatever tour, it's just part of the golf game now. And it's part of how we've evolved into golfers and professional athletes, is using what's at our fingertips, using what's at our disposal. I bought myself a TrackMan a couple months after I turned pro, which measures all the data when you hit a shot. It gives you the ball speed, the club speed, the direction everything's going. But I only use it to a certain degree. You look at certain players, and that's all they live and breathe. That's all they focus on. They focus on the numbers. That's all they care about. That's not me. I think I still have to go out and play golf, but it's good to know those numbers. It's good to understand how certain things are reacting, certain swings are going. And for golf, it's how do you be as consistent as possible? So it's very nice to have the technology to check kind of the basics of where you're at. Is everything set up properly? Are your basics right? And then you can go from there and play golf.
And, we know that the golfing, the irons and the golf clubs and everything's changing with new technology, new materials. Andy Triba wants to know, I hope I'm saying that right, Andy Triba. He says, how do you see the world of golf changing in the next 5 or 10 years?
Wow, that's tough. Because you look at some golfers like Bryson DeChambeau, who is out driving some of us by 60, 80 yards. So where do we see technology and where do we see the game? I really don't know. I think it's just going to keep evolving to how players are going to evolve. But you can see how courses are being built, and certain courses don't allow for the long distance hitters to really gain that much of an advantage. And I think that goes with the course designers, not just the players, is how are courses in the future going to be designed? Because right now, I think a lot of course designers look at, okay, we got to keep making them longer, keep making the courses longer. But that might not necessarily be the answer. Can you make a course shorter, but still use, strategy and use shots to your advantage? So 5 to 10 years, I don't know. I'll still be here, hopefully, knock on wood. playing on the PGA Tour and figuring it out. But I think it's just going to keep evolving as players kind of dive into, what limits we can reach. That's what Bryson's doing is what limit can he reach until, he finds a diminishing return. That's what Tiger Woods did, working out, getting longer. And I think with technology, people are just going to find new ways to get a little better. And sometimes that just leads into everyone else's game and everyone has to adjust from there.
A couple of fun questions here as we get into the last 5 minutes of this program. We know that your passion, as we saw in the video, besides golf, is food.
Yeah.
Wherever you go, and how do you get your tips on where to go to get the best food? I can give you more tips in Hawaii, by the way.
I'm going to need a lot more, Jan, a lot more, because I know I'm never going to run out. We Yelp a lot of things. We ask other pros around. We ask the people at the golf course what they recommend. People like you, wherever you live, shoot me a DM on Instagram, Twitter, whatever it may be. Maybe I'll find it. Hopefully I will if it's about food. And, that's just how local knowledge. That's a big thing. That's a huge reason why I love being a professional golfer is because I travel to so many cities and get to try so much food. Last year at the Zozo Championship, my girlfriend and I went back in, and my agent who's on this call, we went back into Tokyo for, I think, a day and a half, 2 days after the tournament. And we might have eaten, 6 times in one day, just because we wanted to try so many things. So wherever you may be, give me some recommendations if we're out there. That's huge for me.
And where did this love for food come from? Did your parents feed you gourmet food? What happened? What happened?
No, they didn't feed me gourmet food, but they fed me a lot. I was a lot bigger in high school. I lost a little weight in college. Not necessarily from doing anything. Just, I think that's just college. And, my mom, whenever I'm home back in LA, like I am now, she's just always feeding me food. I think that's just what moms do. But I've always loved food. I love trying new food. I think good food, no matter where it's at, is amazing. And whatever type of food, I'm open to it. I want to try it. So I hope I travel to many more places, get to try more food, and that'll be really fun.
If you can name the most exotic thing you've ever eaten in your life, what would that be?
Oh, that's weird. I don't know. I can't even answer that. I have no clue. Tarantula. No, I haven't had any tarantulas or spiders, or I haven't gone to Asia enough to where, that would almost be weird for me. But I'm open to it, maybe. Okay.
There you go. The challenge is on, people. I saw in one video that you had a little dog cover for your golf clubs. And I understand you are a huge dog lover. You and Catherine, actually. Yeah. And tell us about this passion you have.
Yeah. So my parents got a dog. His name's Palmer. It was named after Arnold Palmer. We got him roughly 2 years ago. And through this quarantine, my girlfriend and I, we're trying to find a way, how do we help out animals during these times? And obviously a lot of people were adopting dogs. We weren't at a point yet to fully invest our time, but we were like, okay, let's try and foster dogs. So we've been fostering dogs since quarantine. We still are. When we're on the road, we just give them back to the shelter. So we only do one at a time, but we're on our 4th foster dog. She's amazing. And it's so hard to give up. Especially when you create a bond, whether it's for a week, week and a half, or whether, this dog we've had for almost 4 months. And we want someone to adopt her, but we also love her to death that we get to keep her, and she's amazing in the house. So, that's been a big part of us that helped us get through all this quarantine stuff, not be as bored on the couch, but to really invest our energy into the dogs we've had. And we couldn't be more thankful for that.
Good for you, Collin. All right, last question in this last minute. Where do you see yourself in the future? 5 years out, 10 years out? Where do you see Collin Morikawa?
That's a great, still playing golf, hopefully on the #1 in the world. But I think really building, who I am. And a lot of you know me right now, 23 years old, as just a professional golfer. And I want to be more than that. You look someone else I idolized, you know, growing up was Kobe Bryant, and you know how sad that was earlier this year. I remember where I was in that exact moment. You know, we were actually at Torrey Pines at Farmers Insurance on that Sunday. But he was known not just a basketball player, but an athlete and a person that helped out, helped his community, gave back. And that's where I hope to build who I am. You know, how you guys view me. Yes, hopefully still one of the best in the world, if not the best. But just more than just a golfer. And, you know, I'm still trying to figure out what that really means, who Collin Morikawa is. But obviously you guys can see a lot of my passions about dogs, family, food. And I just want to grow, 5 to 10 years, grow that down the line, because that means a lot. And hopefully we'll keep being a role model for a bunch of people, and just have a lot of fun out there.
Oh, I think you will. And you mentioned Kobe Bryant of Lakers. Everybody knows you're a Lakers fan.
Yep, Lakers and a Dodgers fan.
Yes, exactly.
Yes.
Yes. See it on his Instagram page, everybody. But with that, I just want to say thank you, Collin. You've given us a great insight into who you are. We're so proud, obviously, of who you are. We claim you. We're claiming you, Collin. So everybody, please stay safe. Wish Collin all the best at the Masters. We want him to wear that green jacket, everybody. But anyway, stay safe. Thank you for joining us. Have a great day, everybody.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Jan. Had an amazing time.